Alright, YouTube, what's up? It's me, Demi. Guess what I got for you? I have possibly the most ridiculous MTX setup I have ever seen on a character in the history of ever, combined with every single aura in the game, in addition to an aspect and 3 curses on Blasphemy. I have 20 things reserved right now, and I still have room for more, but there aren't any more. I literally can't reserve anything else. There's no other options. So this will be the update to my perfect AURABOT Bitter Lemon, which was posted like, I don't know, a year ago now, and has since been a little bit outdated because SCION is the new favorite. This is a level 97 SCION. If I blink, I can't see. I'm ridiculously overcapped on everything. I don't know, it's stupid. This is Victoria's, same as the Bitter Lemon was. And I don't even know where to start here, but here's some gameplay.
Alright, I got a couple hours equipped, so we'll see what happens. Oh, I know! I'm not gonna be able to proc ever with this. Oh, I did. Maybe. I can need more damage, son. Oh god, I'm scared. My flasks. I'm not curse game, which I think I just died. It's time for egg delivery! It's so laggy. It's really hard to proc visuals. Maybe only on the bosses. I'm dying, hope. I don't think I can keep up with a full speed clear build. I'll run fast enough. I don't know the portal jump, which is real awkward. Bring everything to the sub up, Mandy, okay? It definitely functions, but I need to make improvements. I don't run fast enough. I'm not sure how to fix that. Fuck. Oh yes, I would like more map returns, please, thanks. Playing AURABOT is oddly calming. Just kinda walk around and shit, guys. Yeah, I can't have +1 corrupted sideboards. I have to buy a bunch of volume. They're actually relatively cheap, though. Like, I can start double corrupting them relatively easily.
And yeah, so there was the gameplay. Let's go get into the build. So this is a SCION, because SCION is the new AURABOT meta, basically. You got Necromancer for some auras from your skills to increase attack and cast speed to your allies. You get some skill effect duration. You also get to start from the Witch's passive, so you're basically using a Witch character's tree, but you get extra skill points so you can grab more jewel sockets, and you get to take Guardian as well, which gives you reduced effective curses on you. Auras give 1% phys mitigation with our, I think I have 18 auras, or 17 auras or something like that. I'm giving like 4 endurance charges worth of mitigation, great. I also get 10% increased aura effect, and some life regen, which I do not benefit from at all, but I also get to share frenzy charges with everybody in my party. So you get your frenzy charges, your endurance charges, your power charges from your party members, which is great. It allows you to be a little bit more tanky, and it allows you to flame dash faster, vigilant strike faster, whatever. So the skill tree for this character is a little confusing. You would have to level it as like either a minion-based character by taking, you know, minion nodes while you're leveling and building it probably as life-based while you're leveling, or you could just go as an AURABOT from the start and be totally fine from there. But otherwise, the skill tree is literally like ES and every single aura-related node on the tree, along with every single jewel socket along the way as well. So I'll start as the Witch start. You get a bunch of ES here, get a bunch of ES here. You convert that ES using energy from within instead of it being, you know, life ES. It's just pure ES with this jewel. We take this aura effect cluster, another ES cluster, more jewel sockets. We'll go over all the jewels in a minute. Aura effect cluster down here, aura effect cluster over here. We come up here for an additional curse. We have 2 curses now. The aura cluster here, aura cluster here. I guess aura node, not cluster. More jewels, more jewels. Blood magic, because blood magic allows us to get 50% less mana reserved and save us all of the gem links we would need to throw blood magic into every single set of links on our gear. So that's good. Another jewel socket, another aura cluster, and another jewel socket. Now, why so many jewel sockets, you might ask? Well, to fit this many goddamn auras, you need to have a buttload of minus reservation. So I have quite a bit. Where do I even start? This is 1% reduced mana here. This is 1% reduced mana here. This is not. This is 1% reduced mana here. I should probably keep track of this. So we got 1, 2, 3 so far. And then we got one more here, so we're at 4, 5 with the reduced mana on the jewel, so 5.5 maybe, 6, you know. 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 reduced mana reservation things, as well as all of the reduced mana available throughout all of the aura clusters on the tree. You know, every single little bit that you can get. In addition to that, I'm also using a Skyforce, which gives a 6% reduced mana reserved. Skyforce are stupidly cheap right now. They're like 90C in League and like 2x in Standard. Stupid. In addition to that, I'm using a Prism Guardian for socketed gems have negative 25% reduced mana reservation. In addition to this, I'm using a Alpha's Howl, which gives us 8% reduced mana reserved. And in addition to that, I'm using a Victario's Influence, which gives us, oh god, where is it? 30% reduced reservation for socketed gems. All of the reduced reservation, basically. It's insane. It's really stupid. But getting into the jewels, they don't have to be like really good jewels. Like the unique ones, sure. You need a Conqueror's Potency. You need a Conqueror's Efficiency. You can get an energy from within and go here and here to convert these life nodes to ES and to convert these to ES, but it really doesn't matter that much. Like I could take this out. It's not a big deal. Other than that, you just buy literally any jewel that has reduced reservation on it. Like this is just giving me a little bit more int from these nodes. This one is garbage. This is like an Act 2 skill gem or reward, gem reward, you know, it's trash. This one is giving me, I think, 20 intelligence from these 2 conversion nodes. It's also trash. This is for our Vigilant Strike. It allows me to fortify myself and nearby allies for 12 seconds. It's a pretty long duration fortify. I only really get to use it on bosses because they tend to just die instantly. Everything else tends to just die. But, you know, AoE fortify, not bad. What other jewels we got? Reduced reservation energy from within. Watcher's Eyes, if you can get a Watcher's Eye, go for faster start of energy shield recharge. And that's about it. If you can get minus mana cost here, you could potentially use a different set of rings instead of minus mana cost rings. But I have that. I have a faster start and recovery rate so that my recharge is faster, but really not that important. I would mostly go for the clarity mana cost, honestly, if you're struggling, and then faster start in that order of priority. What is this one? This is also just, you know, garbage. This is just ES, basically. I don't use attack speed. This is just 35 ES reserved. The one in here, oh, sorry, I have another one. So we have, oh, what did I say, 10, 11? I don't know. I have another one here. I don't need the resist. This is also just ES and reservation. This is just cast speed reservation. Either way, bunch of reserve jewels to enable us to reserve every single aura in the game. Now, what are we using for gear? Well, I mentioned a couple pieces, but the main thing is Victario's, Alpha's Howl, Prism Guardian, and Skyforce. That should be a Chaos, a Chaos, a Chaos, and an X, maybe, or 2. If you can get a Presence of Shayula, great. This will allow you to use, or to get a little more ES as a low life and to be cannot be stunned. But you could just as easily grab a normal Eye of Chayula without the corruption and without the upgrade, and those should be like a Chaos, you know? The rest of your gear is ES pieces. So gloves, you get ES gear, pretty simple. You don't need resist, you just need stats. So you're gonna wanna aim for about 160-ish dex, 160-ish strength, and as much int as you can possibly get, so you can use all your jewels at max level. Just gloves. Insanity gloves, if you want to shield charge and flame dash and all that stuff, you can do that faster, but you don't need it at all. Just go for high ES, basically. Rings, you can craft minus mana cost rings very, very easily, or you can buy them. This is actually an incursion base, so you can get Zopek's prefix, which is mana and minus mana cost, and you can actually craft minus mana cost on top of that for a maximum of negative 17 mana cost. 2 of these and none of your skills should cost anything, which is really, really important because most of the time while you're mapping, you'll be at 1 life and you are blood magic, so you can't actually spend any of your life or you'll die. So everything costs 0 because of these rings. I have one here that costs negative 17 and one negative 8. You could just as easily get another one of these minus mana cost things and just craft faster start of energy shield recharge on it instead of this ring, you know? This is a multi-modded Elrion ring from way back in the day. It's trash, but it works for me. Other pieces of gear, your belt, go for a shaper belt with aspect of the spider on it and energy shield recovery rate, and then ES on it, strength if you can get it, int if you want to craft it on. Spider is really good. It gives you an AoE slow, and it makes enemies take increased damage up to 15%, so that's 15% more damage to enemies, and it slows them, so that you're safer, you know. The rest of your gear, Alpha's Howl, I mean, it's just if you can get an AoE gems corruption or an aura gems corruption, those are actually fairly cheap. Otherwise, go for like a reduced reservation enchant so that you can reserve even more things. Prism Guardian, same thing. If you can get a plus aura gems or plus area gems corruption, great, or both ideally, or +1 gems, those are all good options. I just have single corrupted items. I'll work on the doubles maybe later, but they're not important. Should be pretty cheap here. This gives you some dex and auras as well. Skyforce, you do not need +1 gems at all. Just Skyforce with a movement speed enchant would be great. If you can evolve it for +1s, you can potentially get a little bit more levels out of your curses, but not super important. And then your weapon. This is something that's a little bit weird. You kind of have to craft these yourself. You can get them by using bound fossils, which are the minion damage ones. Minion and aura stuff. Do I have any bound fossils? Yeah, here's one. So it gives you minion and aura modifiers. One of the weapon mods is a suffix. It gives you auras from your skills grant 2% increased damage to you and your allies. Well, I have 18 auras, 17 auras, and that's 2 per aura. So that's 34% increased damage from that node. Everything else on this weapon is completely useless, as far as I can tell. I thought the Intimidate on hit would work with spells, but I'm not hitting often enough for it to matter, and the other stuff was from a different character. So if you wanted to, you could craft a weapon very, very easily using like 5 fossils. You just get that node, and if you can get like some cast speed on it, great. But I'm using a Psy for the 6% chance to block, because it's the most defensive mod you can get on a weapon. If you wanted to go for a shaped sword, for example, you could get a socketed gems have no mana cost if you're struggling to get the incursion modded stuff, you know? You could just use that and put your movement skills in there, and it would cost 0. That's a shaper suffix, so you have to have a shaper sword for that, but it would work just as easily. You just lose the block chance and gain that, you know? Easy swap of gems. Is there anything else you need to talk about in the gear? I think that's it. I should also mention here, Victorios, you want to prioritize effective non-curse auras. The rest of it doesn't matter. Just try to get that. It gives you more aura effect, which is really good. And then for your flasks, I'm using a sulfur flask because you get crit chance while you're on consecrated ground now, so that helps your allies. You're going to want a freeze flask and a curse flask somewhere. So these 2 flasks, either suffix, get those. As for your main important flask, your coruscating elixir is really important. This is what allows us to use Victorios instead of a Shavs. We are low life. Any amount of chaos damage would instantly kill me right now because it bypasses energy shield. Well, this flask removes all but 1 life on use and says chaos damage does not bypass during effect. So this lasts for about 8.5 seconds, 8 to 9 seconds, right? Which is really good. So if you wanted to get like flask effect duration on your belt, you could push that to 12 seconds or so. I believe mine lasts somewhere around 10 seconds right now. Oh, wrong one. 9 seconds, which is a lot of time. If you're struggling to maintain that during maps, if your carry sucks and they're not killing fast enough, just use 2 of them, not a big deal, and a Quicksilver flask. If you can afford to get away with just 1, throw in a Roomies for some block chance so that you can try to be as tanky as possible, you know? You have triple curse as well, you know, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But gem links, so, oh god, this is where things get a little crazy because I have so many different things reserved. I'll just go over my setup and then tell you how to make it easier to sustain if you don't have all the reservation jewels, right? So the main 6 link is because this is a +1 aura gems chest that's supported by level 30 generosity. That means that it gets to be incredibly powerful auras, but they don't apply to us. So you want to put all your damage auras in here, basically. So I have Malevolence, I have Wrath, I have Hatred, I have Zealotry, and Anger. Highest DPS setups are all in here. The only DPS aura that I don't have in here is Haste, because I need that to keep up with my party members. Those are all linked to Empower, so I have a +1 chest, you could get a +2, it doesn't matter, they're the same. You would end up with with 21, you get level 27 damage auras, which is just stupid, because of level 5 Empower combined with level 21 auras, and +1 chest, +1, you know, it's great. Extremely high DPS. In your shield, which has +2 aura gems by default, and blood magic, which is irrelevant, but we can put a huge amount of reservation stuff here because the shield gives you -25% reservation in those gems. So I'm using a -50, a -35, and an Empower to give them even more ES and movement speed to keep up with, my friends, you know. You can put a Vol Haste in here as well if you want to boost people even further. Or a Vol Discipline if you want to go to more defensive. I just chose Vol Haste because it's got to go fast. Let's see what other setups we got. Your helmet with your other +2 aura gem setup. You put all the purities in here. All the purities all the time. They don't need to be linked to anything, but you get level 25 purities, which gives you the max res caps. So I have 84, 84, 85 max res. which is kind of disgusting if you want to combine it with other defensive sources of, like, you could use a sapphire and a ruby and, you know, to get even less elemental damage taken. You could do that as well if you're feeling squishy. In your movement skills, you're going to want to use a flame dash and a phase run. Doesn't really matter where they are. They could be in your weapon, they could be in your gloves, irrelevant. Flame dash to go up and down ledges, phase run to run faster. Your other random links, you have a vigilant strike, which allows you to fortify your party if they're next to you for up to 12 seconds or so, or 15 seconds, I think, something like that. I also have a rallying cry, which gives you AoE damage, or sorry, gives your friends damage based on how many enemies are in an AoE around you. You don't need to use this. You can also just swap an increased duration for your phase run vigilant strike. Still costs 0, should be fine there. I've been trying to use rallying cry though, because it gives damage and mana regen, which is nice for them, you know. And it lets you actually do something while you're mapping besides just pick up loot. Other links, I have a war banner, which gives your allies accuracy rating and nearby enemies take increased fizz damage. You don't get any kills, so you don't get to place the flag, but it doesn't really matter. Accuracy, fizz damage. You could also use the dread banner if you want the defensive bonuses, which gives enemies negative accuracy, and your allies get impale chance, but I like this one better. I also have a vitality in here and a determination. This is a 50% and a 35% reservation aura. If you don't have a Skyforce and all of the reservation jewels and whatnot, you can just take out these 2 auras, and that should give you like more than enough life to reserve everything else. Like, look how much reservation I still have open. You should be able to fit everything without those 2. If you still can't fit all the other auras, including aspect, you can just as easily drop this clarity. Again, not needed, just make it level 1. It'll cost like 6 mana. You should be able to reserve everything without those 3 gems. But they're a little bit extra defense and survivability with them, you know? And then in my other ring, I have a grace as well for the evasion rating. You can see I have 10k evasion, which is kind of stupid. The only real problem I have with this character is when you die, it takes forever to turn your auras back on. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. Been having a good time with it. What else do we have to talk about? I think that's it. Oh yeah, the Blasphemy Setup. I have a 3 curse Blasphemy Setup. If you don't have a +1 curse amulet, just drop one of the curses. Most likely you'll drop the damage curse. You don't need it. It's just kind of nice. But Temp Chains and Feeble keeps you safe. Slows enemies down combined with your aspect of the spider, and then you have Ellie weakness to just make everything die faster. Depending on who you're mapping with, you might want to change this to Despair if you're running with Chaos builds. They don't gain a lot of damage from us. I'd recommend you run with Fizz to Ellie conversion builds or pure Ellie builds mostly for this character, which means you're going to be running to run Elemental Weakness or, say, Assassin's Mark or, I don't know, Warlord's Projectile Weakness. Depends on whatever you're running with. Just match it to whatever your character they're running with is, and you'll be good to go. As for Pantheons, I don't really have these maxed out yet, but you're going to want to max out Garukhan for the 6% movement speed and Soul of Lunaris for the movement speed as well. It'll allow you to run faster, so you can keep up. That is a total of 14% movement speed. With what I currently have, my 2 flasks, movement speed flasks, is it defense for movement speed? It's 151, and then with the onslaught I'm at 171, and once I get those 2 things, that should be an additional, what is that? What did I just say? Oh my god, math is hard. I'll be at 186% movement speed, 185, something like that. That should be fast enough to keep up with anybody, unless they have extreme headhunter speed buffs, in which case you'll be able to keep up with them if you stick in their aura AoE, because they give you the auras as well. But yeah, that is my update for this character. If I missed anything, leave it in the comments. But the character is fairly easy to throw together. Like, you just need Victorios, Alphas, Prism Guardian to get going. And then if you don't know Skyforce, you just drop some of the auras, you know. You should be able to reserve everything in the game. Every single thing. And an aspect, and 3 curses. The only improvements that I can think of right now for this exact character, I need to get a better weapon, maybe a shaper thing so I can move this stuff out of my gloves. With the mana cost, you want that aura damage thing. What else? Double Corrupted Helmet, AoE, and aura gems would be great for +8 on auras, but on purity, sorry. But they don't actually really gain anything from it. The max res is capped at 73, so maybe that doesn't actually matter. Just go for the +2. As for the Prism Guardian, same thing. You could get a +3 corruption with +2 aura, +1 gems, or +4 gems. +2 aura, +2 AoE would work as well. Skyforce, same thing. You could get +3 or +4. Chest piece, +1, +2, or +2, +2. Amulet, you could get additional curse combined with 20% increased wrath effect or something like that would be really good. You can also go for a Hyrii's Precision or something like that. There's another aura you can get, Precision aura, which would allow you to have even another aura on top of this, but I'd have to swap out all of my non-reservation jewels, corrupted reservation jewels into reservation jewels to be able to fit that other aura. I could do it, but getting a minus reservation on natural instinct is going to be a gigantic bitch, which, by the way, I'm only using this for the 9% movement speed. That's literally the only thing I'm getting out of this that makes sense. It's 9% movement speed and like 5 int. Gotta go fast. Yeah. Other than that, there's really not that much room for improvement. Maybe just better jewels. Like if you got actual abyss jewels with like 50 flat ES, attack and cast speed, resist, dex, in, you know, stuff like that, that would be better than these type of jewels, but there's really not much else to do. It's pretty easy. And for one of my builds, relatively cheap. I'm only wearing 2 mirror items. My belt and my gloves, but these belt and gloves are nothing special. You can make something like this with like some dense fossils and some insanity essences and just multi-mod it out. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the perfect AURABOT update. This is 17 auras plus 3 curse and an aspect. It's fine, perfectly balanced. I'll see you guys in the next video. That'll be demi out. There is actually one more thing I wanted to talk about. Because you have 20 auras, you can equip every single MTX that currently exists for auras. So I have Summer Skull, Master Soul Stealer, Crucible, Celestial Shields, Crucible back attachment, a bandana, Garuda Dagger, Stalker weapon effect, 2 dragons, because you know, you need more dragons in your life. Game of Thrones, by the way. Alright, so Stormcrawler, character effect, Legion Portrait, Redeemer Portal, and then we get Betrayal Aura, Carnage Aura, Arctic Skull Aura, Celestial Aura, Corsair Aura, invisible buff effect for the banner, because I don't like the stupid flag, Imp Aura, Force Field Aura, Infernal Skull Aura, Lava Aura, Lightning Skull Aura, Mystic Aura, Soul Nexus Aura, Stygian Aura, Trinity Aura, Archon Aura, Phase Run, which has an MTX out of the mystery box. I haven't gotten that yet, my bad. Corsair Flame Dash, and Blasphemy, which also can't really have an aura effect. But yeah, I don't really want to think about how many dollars of MTX this is wearing. If somebody wants to do that math for me, leave in the comments. It's probably a lot. I could make it much worse. But the auras alone, I'm pretty sure, are like at least $100. I don't know. It's stupid. Look at those dragons. They're beautiful. Look at this. Look at this disgusting. You can't look at the little butterflies on my helmet. When I zoom in all the way, they go away. It sucks. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, there you go. The fastest, stupidest AURABOT. It's disgusting, and I hate it, and it's too good. Yeet.